So Saturn is the most important planet in your birth chart, hands down. Saturn is the taskmaster, it's the disciplinarian, it's the teacher, it's the coach, it's the benevolent parent who rewards you with a cookie when you get the job done, and it can also be the mean principal who hands you a detention slip if you decide that you're not going to do the work and goof off in class too much. So it's really important that we understand what our Saturn life lesson is. In your lifetime, you're going to be getting what's called a Saturn return. So it takes 29 years from the time that you were born for Saturn to go all the way around the solar system to come back to where it was at the time of your birth. And this is called the Saturn return. And if you haven't learned your lesson by then, if you've just been slacking off and not paying attention, then you're going to end up getting a detention slip from the mean principal, right? So the first one happens when you're around age 28, 29. The second Saturn return, of course, happens around 57, 58. Part is that you learn your lesson and you're constantly working on it so that you're getting better and you're living your best life, right? So, all right. So I've got a chart here. And first I want to say, don't pay any attention to any of the degrees, the lines, the orbs, any of that stuff. I'm here to teach you about your life lessons, your mission here, your life's wound, your awesomeness. And so if I teach you about any of the other stuff in great detail, your eyes are going to glass over and you're not going to get it. You're not going to get the most out of this class. So right now it's a beginner's class. So we're just going to go over the sweet spots here. And so this is the chart of a friend. I normally don't say anyone's name, and I try to read these charts blind, not knowing whose they are, but this one I know almost by heart at this point, and it belongs to my friend Daisha. She said that she didn't mind if I shared her name. So we're going to go over her Saturn return tonight. I'm going to show you how to find yours in a second. So Saturn looks like the number 5 on your birth chart. And if you don't know what I mean, just go down to the planets and look at the glyphs, look at the symbols, find Saturn's symbol, and it will tell you exactly where it's located on your chart. So Daisha's Saturn is located at 18 degrees Taurus. And again, don't worry about degrees in this class because it's not important. But what is important is the house that her Saturn is in and the sign that's under and the element that it's under. So you want to find it, and hers is located in the 7th house. And the way you find the houses is that you look at your ascendant sign. You'll see the ASC symbol at the 9 o'clock area of your chart. And that is on the cusp of your first house. So you'll see the number 1 right at the cusp of your ascendant sign, and it wraps around counterclockwise. You'll see it on the inner circle. It wraps around counterclockwise up to number 12. So each one of these houses represents a certain part of your life. Okay. So for Daisha's, she is in the 7th house. And the 7th house represents the house of marriage, partnerships, and contracts. And it's in the sign of Taurus, which represents, it's an earth sign. So it represents belongings, money, specifically money, home, tangible assets. But it also can represent your values, not just valuables, but actually what you value. Okay. So that is Daisha's life lesson, her Saturn life lesson. And does this mean that she's doomed in this area? No, it does not. Because if she focuses in on nurturing that part of her life and really putting some discipline to it, then Saturn is going to reward her big time for this. This is a huge, huge lesson for her. I'm sure she's doing a great job with it right now. But if she's not, then, it's time for her to buckle down and get serious about it. So that's really important. All right. So a few other things on her chart while we have Daisha's chart up, and I'm going to be going through everyone's birth chart by the time that we're done. not today, but throughout the month, so that you're going to get an idea of what's happening. So Daisha, just this is a fun fact. Daisha has what's called a grand water trine in her chart. And what that means is that she's got 3 placements that are trined to each other perfectly so that they form an equilateral triangle in her chart. And this means that she has some psychic ability going on here. So we'll have a class on that too, but that's just a little bit of a fun fact. About one out of 3 people have a trine in their chart. And of course, there's trines in each one of the elements, is water trine, fire trine, earth trine, air trine. And there's also trines that have 2 of one of the same element and a different element. They're intermixed. So, but if you have one that's solid in an element, it typically means something that's pretty cool about you. So if I were Daisha, I would lean into this and start developing her mystical abilities. And I think I've spoken to her about that before. So let's go down through the houses, and I'm going to show you what each house represents. I'm going to start with house number 1. So house number 1 is your house of self. So if your Saturn is in that pie, that little pie piece, pie section, then it is in the house of self. The second house is the house of income. It's how you make your money. Okay. Third house is the house of communication. It's ruled by Mercury, of course, which is the planet of communication. So that's for you if it's located in the third house. For the fourth house, this is the house of home and valuables. Okay. The fifth house is the house of joy. And I'm laughing because I'm a Leo, and Leo rules the fifth house. And I always call it the house of orgasms because that's pretty much what it is. It's the house of fun, sex, and self-expression. The sixth house is the house of wellness and physical routine. The seventh house is house of marriage, partnerships, and contracts, as we said before. That's Daisha's house. The eighth house is house of intimacy. It's what goes on behind closed doors, investments, taxes, stuff like that, lawsuits. The ninth house is the house of higher education. It's also the house of travel and adventure. 10th house is house of career, okay, your job. 11th house is house of community. It's house of networking, religion, goals and dreams, aspirations. And then the 12th house is the house of spirituality. It's the house of the unknown, the house of the unconscious. And oddly enough, it's also the house of hospitals, institutions, and prisons. Okay, so those are all of the houses 1 through 12 that you can find on your chart. All right, so let's go down through now to the really fun part, and we're going to talk about Saturn all the way through the zodiacs, all the way through the signs. So if you've got Saturn in Aries, you're either assertive or you're not assertive enough. And Saturn wants you to stand up for yourself in this lifetime, wants you to not be passive, wants you to just get out there and don't give a damn about what people think. Just do it. Okay. So that's for you if Saturn is in Aries. And it's super cool to know that it's got your back. Saturn in Taurus. Saturn wants you to be a good steward of your money. And right now you're either taking really good care of your finances or you're not. But if you're having a difficult time, then right now you need to focus on taking care of that part of your life. And if you do that, then you'll be rewarded big time. Okay. Saturn in Gemini. So you're either focused right now or you're flighty. If you're flighty, Saturn wants you to get down and start to focus on stuff that's got to be done. And Saturn wants you to follow through on everything that you set out to do. Don't stop until the task gets done. You can do it. Okay. Focus. Saturn in Cancer. So unfortunately for the water signs, the Saturn in water signs, they're really difficult. And this particular placement means that you need to sort out your emotional issues regarding your family members. Keep processing until you understand it. Go see a therapist, counselor, whatever you need to do. But you need to take care of this in your lifetime. Okay. Saturn in Leo. This is the best placement ever, right? Watch this. So you're either fun loving or you're not. And if you're not fun loving, Saturn wants you to be amazing and have fun. And you're here to show up and show off. And you need to realize this. That's your life. That's your life lesson, is to be fun. Make sure that you set time aside for having a blast. Okay. Don't be so serious. All right. Saturn in Virgo. Now, Virgo tends to be the opposite. Virgo is like details, right? And then Virgo is, it's asking you to not be so hard on yourself, to not focus on perfectionism, to understand that you're only human and be good to yourself, love yourself for all of your faults. You know, you're amazing. That's your life lesson. All right. Libra. What do we have for Libra? Saturn wants you to stop being so wishy-washy. Wants you to make up your mind when it comes to your relationships. You either want to date them or you don't want to date them. You either want to marry them or not. You want to, have a relationship or not. Just make up your mind. Okay. And stick to it. That's your life lesson. Saturn in Scorpio. Again, like Cancer, this is a kind of a hard placement, but what it's asking for you to do is to heal your emotional body, because for people in this placement, you tend to manifest this, you tend to manifest your emotions in your body as physical symptoms. So if you don't take care of your emotions, and they might come out as cancer or diabetes or something, or a rash. Even it doesn't have to be anything as crazy as cancer, but it could be like blisters or whatever. So you need to pay attention to your emotional body. Okay. Practice that self-care. Get it done. Saturn in Sagittarius. It's asking for you to be true to yourself, to be the real you, to be honest to yourself and honest to others as well. Be true to yourself, Sag. Saturn in Capricorn. With this placement, Saturn is asking you to watch your workload. Make sure you're not turning into a workaholic. Make space in your life for R&R, okay? And you'll be rewarded. Saturn in Aquarius. So Saturn is asking for you to embrace your uniqueness and your individuality. So some folks who have this placement, some of them have felt like they've always been like the black sheep, especially in childhood. So Saturn's asking you to own it and be you, so you can go out and kick some ass in this lifetime. Okay. All right. And last but not least, we've got Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn's asking you to embrace your inner mystic, because Pisces people they have, I don't want to call it a woo-woo side, but they have this dreamy, mystical part of them that they tend to get lost in. So it's asking you to embrace the inner mystic, learn to listen to your intuition. And if you haven't developed your intuition, then you should start doing it. Okay. And later on this class, I'll show you how you can start cultivating that. So, all right, folks. So there you have it. You've got your assignment. So find your Saturn in your chart, find out what house it's in, and then what sign it's under and the element. So if if you pair the two up, you'll be able to find out, you'll probably know what it is anyways. So you'll be able to decipher what you need to get done. Okay. And if you have any questions, you can email me or you can text me. A lot of you have my phone number, so you can just text me. Okay. All right. Lots of love to you. Go get it done. Bye.